Hi-de-ho, this is Tony with the Jeep Talk Show, and just like you, I'm listening to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast with Nikki G.
Episode 103, Toledo Jeepfest, Part 2. What kind of jacket does a cat like to wear? A fur coat, of course. That stunk, but hey, that's the kind of quality you expect on this program. Welcome to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki G. I'm here to entertain and delight your ear holes with all things off-road for the next 10 minutes or so. And somehow I feel like I messed that up, but it is what it is. Why 10 minutes? Well, I've already messed it up, so let's just keep the ball rolling on that. Now's the time where I give you all my boilerplate mumbo-jumbo on where to listen to the podcast, how to contact the podcast, and where to find the podcast. But I don't have to do it now because I have enslaved AI interns. So take it away, AI. It's just full of mistakes. This is going to be one crappy episode.
You're listening to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast, the podcast for the off-roader with a short attention span.
You can follow the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, but never on TikTok. You can listen to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on whatever the hell you're listening to it on now, including Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, Odyssey, Podbay, Podchaser, Pocket Cast, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube.
Got something to say? We would love to hear from you. Just contact the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast at 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. That's 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. Or leave a comment on our YouTube channel.
All right, thank you, AI interns. You're worth every penny. So this week I want to talk about, I just got back from Toledo Jeepfest. What a hoot. Getting there was a pain in the butt. Getting back, it's a long, boring drive. But I managed, and like I said, once I got there, I had a good time. Start from the top. I stayed at the Toledo Jeepfest base camp, which is they open up a metro park that's right downtown, right at the event. So you literally just walk across the street and you're there at Toledo Jeepfest. You don't have to pay for parking or anything because your vehicle's already there. So I stayed at the base camp, which is kind of like an overlanding camp. Stayed with some friends, had a great time. The people there were great. There was 12 other people overlanding, and we all got along. We had a good time. We didn't mingle and interact too much, but it was okay. Getting there, I had to check in at 3:00 on Friday, so I left Thursday night right after work. I got off work at 11:30, came home, changed my clothes, took a shower, grabbed a bite to eat, jumped in the Jeep and took off. My goal was to drive as far as I can and spend the night and then get up bright and early in the morning and continue, and I'd already be almost all the way there. I was afraid if I went to sleep at home in my nice comfortable bed, I wouldn't be able to get up in the morning and I'd blow the day. And it almost worked out perfect. Jumped in the Jeep, took off. I left here at probably about 1:30 a.m. I drove all the ways through North Carolina, through Virginia, got just shy of the West Virginia line. I was getting a little sleepy, so I pulled over at I think it's called Rocky Gap rest area on I-77. Beautiful rest area, real nice. Pulled off in there, popped a rooftop tent, crawled in, went to sleep. I was just going to sleep a few hours, get up at the crack of dawn and go on my way. That didn't happen. I slept in. Oh my God, I was so comfortable in the rooftop tent. Next thing I know, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and rest stop employee is waking me up, telling me I can't camp there. And I said, I'm leaving. And so I jumped in the Jeep and packed up. It only took me a few minutes to pack up because I didn't really unpack anything. I just closed up the rooftop tent. On my way for breakfast. Where did I stop for breakfast? I want to say I wanted to go to Wendy's for breakfast, But the Wendy's in Princeton, West Virginia, all the employees were locked out. The manager didn't come in and unlock the door yet. So all the employees are standing in the parking lot. McDonald's. Did I go to McDonald's? I think I did. I pressed on to McDonald's, got a McMuffin, and on my way. Made a quick stop at Point Pleasant, West Virginia. If you're familiar with the movie The Mothman Prophecies, it's based on a true story, true-ish. But so I stopped at Point Pleasant and poked around there for a little bit, looked at the Mothman Museum and the Mothman statue or monument that they have. It's a real thing. I guess a lot of locals claim they've seen the Mothman. So I stopped there for a little bit. It was an unscheduled stop. If I had time, I wanted to stop there, and I didn't have time, but I stopped anyhow because what the hey. Continued on my way, got caught in a hell of a rainstorm. Had to pull over because I really couldn't see. Finally got to the base camp at 5 o'clock-ish. A little bit late, but it didn't matter. The rain knocked out all the vendors. They were going to have like a vendor pre-show and a block party. The local Jeep club, I think it was Glass City Crawlers, because a lot of glass was made in Toledo. So everything up there is called Glass City. Glass City Crawlers. So I was hosting a block party. Missed everything. Went to a tavern, got a bite to eat. Came back, hung out around a campfire, and just went to bed. Got up early the next morning. Made some instant oatmeal for breakfast. And then we went on to... Now I'm going to take that back. I don't think we got up too early. I think again, I got up by the time I got rolling, it was like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock-ish. We were right behind where the people were lining up, staging for the parade. So we walked around through the staging area, looking at the Jeeps, talking to people. Chris, a friend of mine I was with, does a lot of work with the Jeep Talk Show. I do a little bit of work with the Jeep Talk Show. And so he was doing interviews and camera work for the Jeep Talk Show. I grabbed the mic and was acting like a clown a little bit. Didn't really promote my podcast too much. We just worked on Jeep Talk Show, which is fine because I just went up there just to hang out with some friends and look at some Jeeps. I was up there for a good time. I really wasn't up there with an agenda. If stuff happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't. Tell you, if you go to any Jeep show this year or next year, go to the Toledo Jeepfest if you can. A lot of history. It's, of course, Jeep is one of the sponsors there, and they have Jeeps, all kinds of Jeeps, museum showpiece Jeeps, the military Jeeps like you see on MASH. They have some one-off specialty Jeeps that like built for the military or for farm use. Jeep ambulance, Jeep ice cream trucks looking things. You see a lot of old vehicles that were made by Jeep I didn't even know existed. And I've been to the Toledo Jeepfest 4 times now, I believe. 4 years in a row, and every year there's something different that I haven't seen before. And then, of course, you see the regular stuff that you see every year. I saw it last year. They call it the Unicorn. It's old J10 pickup that was made in extended cab, and they only made 2 of them. And then Jeep, it was a prototype, and then Jeep scrapped the idea. They destroyed one. But the other one of the employees at Jeep hid it away in a part of the factory or part of the room with filing cabinets around it. And it sat for years. And he didn't want it to get scrapped. And then finally someone discovered it, bought it from Jeep, restored it. And it looks beautiful, and it's rare. It's the only one Jeep manufactured. And talk to the guy who owns it, and I'll tell you, it's like your next door neighbor. Very nice guy. He'll tell you anything. I think if I would have asked him what color underwear he was wearing, he would have told me. Probably would have showed me. But very nice guy. Can't remember his name because I don't remember anybody's names. I'm just bad. Every vendor in the world was there. if they sold a Jeep product, they were there. Parade, I think they said there was, I want to say, close to 2,000 Jeeps lined up for the parade. And I can believe it. And you see every kind of Jeep. You see the old ratted out XJs to the brand new built up JLs, JKs, and Gladiators. Renegades. If it had a Jeep logo on it, it was in the parade. They had a couple of people that are very interesting, talk to them. And I don't want to butcher their name. I know one was named Dean. Can't think of what the other guy, his name was, but they're like professional overlanders. Listen to the one guy, Dean's podcast. He's got a podcast called Echoes of Adventure. Hard to find. I had to hunt for it. Had to Google it and hunt for it. Started listening to it, and it starts off slow. He starts off, first episode tells you like a history of he gives you a podcast history lesson. And by the time you hit the third or fourth episode, he's getting into the nitty-gritty of overlanding and off-road, and he's very interesting. A lot of knowledge. Him and this other guy that was with him, God, I can't think his name. They held classes on recovery, and they had just little how-tos like on recovery, on how to find trails, how to navigate. Of course, I didn't hit any of those because I was too busy walking around, clowning around. But they stopped by our base camp and talked to us for a little bit. And they said they were tired of talking. I asked them, how's it going? And he says, I'm so tired of talking. Don't be offended if I don't say anything. He said, I don't like to talk either, believe it or not. So no complaint for me. And we just kind of sat there for a while, just staring at each other. He won the staring contest, but then he gave me a cookie, so everything was good. And that was that. Food there's all kinds of restaurants and bars downtown. They had food trucks there, and the lines for the food trucks were long. I figured, why wait to eat outside when I could sit in air conditioning? It was a little warm during the day, but at night it cooled off great. Slept like a baby. Sunday morning, got up, packed up, went on my way home, drove straight through on the way home. The drive home was a little bit more pleasant than the drive up there. Drive up there seemed like it took forever in the day. Driving home, it seemed like I got there pretty quick. Stopped at the world's slowest Burger King in Virginia, which took an hour and a day for me to get a Whopper and onion rings. But other than that, it was great, and I knew I would have a good time, and it didn't disappoint. If you get a chance, go to Toledo Jeepfest. If you have the means, stay at the base camp. I'm saying stay at the base camp, but I don't want you to stay at the base camp because they only have like 12 or 14 slots, and I don't want you to take my slot because I want to go next year and stay there again. And if you do go, let me know. I'd love to hang out with you guys. And all right, so I rambled on long enough. This is Dickie G saying, wheel what you got and be happy. And as always, thanks for listening.